All right, guys, welcome to
The show?
Is something a little different. The show. So this is not a podcast. This is a show. And this is a good opportunity for us to sit down, kind of round table discussion and discuss all things that kind of really relate to our brand and our company, because we are more than just archery, right? That's a huge part of our brand, but we want to be able to talk about and discuss other things outside of that: business, family, life, archery, hunting, camping, backpacking, all things that pertain to us.
Tactical,
all kinds of stuff, you know. So that's what this is. It's something a little different than we've ever done. But I've had this equipment for over 2 years.
Has it been that long?
Dude, I've been sitting on this equipment for years, and I just haven't done anything with it yet. We've got so much going on.
Yeah, it's been hard.
It has been hard. So we finally sat down. Joey's girl came in and actually painted and, built out our studio, which she did an unreal job on it. It looks incredible. We've got a big sign coming that'll be here. That's going to look fantastic. But today we're starting this thing off with, we're talking about none other than JR himself. So JR just got back from the Lancaster Archery Classic. Yes. If you guys don't know JR, which anybody that's watched our channel knows JR is our head tech at the shop here. He's been by my side for
almost 3 years now.
Almost 3 years. Yeah. So he's a major staple in this company and our brand, and he really leads the archery side of things. And he went up to Lancaster Archery, shot the Classic, did a fantastic job representing us, and first time ever there.
Yes.
So awesome experience.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a blast. And for those that don't know, you actually pronounce it Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Something like that. That's how they pronounce it. There's Lancaster.
Lancaster. Lancaster.
But everybody says Lancaster. If you're not from there. That's just their native tongue, I guess, whatever. Yeah. If you want to be correct.
We got to be correct. Lancaster.
Yeah, Lancaster.
There you go. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sure. Kind of rolls off the tongue nicely.
Yeah. So.
How was the trip?
It was good. At first, it was just supposed to be me going, but we wound up changing like the last week before and almost 2 weeks. We decided to take the whole family up there, just do a little vacation as well, and just enjoy the trip.
You guys drove?
We did. We drove from here, Jacksonville, North Carolina, up to Lancaster. It took roughly about 9 hours with the family and everything. Biggest thing with that was getting through DC traffic in Baltimore. We wound up getting up there. It was close to like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, something like that. So
we absolutely nailed it then. Yes. That's like the worst time you could ever go through that area.
Yeah. I wanted to leave like around 7, but we had to board our dog, and that took a little bit longer to do in the morning. So, because we also had to go up to Duke the night before for my daughter. She had some more appointments up there for all of her stuff that's going on. Mm-hmm. So we were up there,
which I'm assuming
Tuesday
was all
night.
Good.
Yes. She had MRIs for scans. She had a brain tumor. We'll talk about that some other time. But scans are still good, clean. Awesome. So that's awesome news. We're happy about that. And they're even saying now we just go back every year now for all that stuff.
Dude, so that's great news.
Yes.
Awesome, man.
Yep.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, she's doing a lot better.
Good.
So that's good. That was a rough couple of years in our life.
Yeah, I can only imagine, man.
And that's actually what got me back into archery. So.
Wild how that works.
Yeah. I was out of archery for a couple of years, and we wound up having to travel a lot, and I was with Jack a lot, and he's been really getting into golfing, hunting, stuff like that. So we decided to go to another shop, seeing if we could get into archery, and that didn't go so well. And then found this place, and I've been shopping here for years, even back when I was in the Marine Corps.
Before the archery side of things, because the archery side of things is fairly new. For a lot of you guys that don't know our brand, archery side of things it's six years or so that we've been doing this. I've enjoyed archery for a long time, archery, bow hunting, and I decided to kind of stand it up with our brand, and it's done phenomenal.
Yes.
And then we brought in some great individuals, JR being one of them, who now really leads the archery side of things for us. So weird how that all works.
I know, it's pretty cool. Yes. I really enjoy it.
Good.
So getting back to the travel and everything, the shoot. So if you guys don't know what the Lancaster Classic is, it is a giant indoor event. They have different categories from youth all the way up to seniors. So they have the senior opens. I think there was a guy there that was like 80 something that was shooting. So it's really cool.
Getting after it.
Yep.
Nice.
You'd be 8 to 80, it's a wide range. So it's really cool. They have different categories you shoot in, different styles. They have bare bow, bow hunter, recurve, the Olympic recurve, the open classes where you're shooting the big target bows like I was. What else? Is that it? That's pretty much everything for the classes. They are generally doing it on a 3-spot target face, which is 40 centimeter target, and it's in a triangular shape. So you have 3 targets in a triangle. With that, you're shooting 3 arrows. You have 2 minutes to shoot your arrows per end, and you're shooting 2 games back to back, which a game consists of 10 ends, 30 arrows, and their scoring is 11 is the center X, then you have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
So different from a 3-spot standard face. Yeah. There's no X count. It's instead of the X, it's an 11.
Yeah.
So a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit different. So perfect score would be 660, which nobody shot this year, which is kind of odd because they've been doing it the last 3. I think it's been the last 3 years they've had people shooting perfect scores, which is insane. Just phenomenal. And especially the kid that did it, Bodie Turner, he is about to be 17, I think, and he did it last year and the year before.
Impressive.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Phenomenal shooter.
Yeah, no kidding.
But he did actually win the men's open, or the open pro, sorry. He wound up winning it.
So what class did you shoot?
I was in the men's open. It is not as competitive as the open pro, but there was a lot more people in my category.
So do you have to qualify?
No, that's the nice thing with this is anybody can go. You just pay the fees for shooting, and then you choose your knock time, or I guess technically knock time, whatever you want to call it for shooting. Your shooting time. They do it Thursday, Friday, and there's different times. So I want to be in the 8 a.m. Friday, which it was kind of nice to just get it done and over with because it takes about 4 hours to shoot. Because you're shooting, so you get 2 practice ends, and then you're shooting both your games back to back. So you're just shooting nonstop. So it does take time because there's 2 lines to shoot. You get 2 minutes, like I said. So that's 4 minutes of shooting. Then you have to go down and score everything. If there's any disputes about scores, you have judges there, and then they have the final say. But you're just group scoring yourselves.
So you actually go down, you score your own target?
Yes. Yeah, as a group. So you everybody's on a bale. There's 4 targets on each bale, and then so there's 4 shooters, and then you just go through and group score.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, is there any cheating that goes on with that?
I don't think there is because I mean you're technically scoring yourselves, but you're not. You
got peers beside you that are kind of observing. So
yeah. I mean, if you were cheating, they would figure it out.
I'm sure somebody would call you out with the quickness.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So there's a lot of money on the line with this as well.
It depends on the class you're in, yes. So the Open Pro, that was a max of $20,000. If you took first place, you win $20,000. The men's Open that I was in, I think it was like $3,500 would be for first place. So it's a little bit different.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then this year they threw in a mix or a new pot. So this is the 20th year that they've done it, and they were going to do $20,000 for whoever shot a perfect score. Then they had somebody do a mystery add-in. They added $30,000, so it was a max of $50,000 you could win if you shot a 660, and that was for anybody across the board. If you shot a 660, you would win that. But if they had more than one person shoot it, you'd have a shoot off for that, and then they would pay out for a second, third between the pot.
Oh wow! And nobody
shot a 660 this year.
Saved a lot of money this year.
Yeah. So I wonder what they're going to do with that money. Maybe they'll add it to next year or something like that.
Somebody got paid good behind the scenes.
Yeah, maybe. So it was a really good time. It was. I went up to there, not really anticipating qualifying. It would have been awesome to qualify. I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. So I only got to shoot those 2 games, and then that was it. I was out.
But as far as that, so let's take it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is your first big, you've shot a lot of little archery stuff, but this is on a big scale.
Yes, for sure.
Much different.
This is like the second biggest archery event in at least America. In the U.S.
So how did you feel like pressure wise? Did you have any pressure on yourself or?
I did.
You did?
Yeah. I wanted to perform, especially with the amount of support that I was receiving from everybody. I was posting a lot of stuff on Instagram and socials and stuff, just showing that my progression, working to get up there. And I had a lot of people just reaching out, wishing me luck and the best and everything. And so that did end up putting a lot of pressure on myself to perform. And that's just something that I've got to work on with the mental aspect of it. I don't really feel like I get super nervous in front of people, but and that big of an environment, it's going to hit you.
So this would be my biggest fear. Let me tell you. So on the line, you know, because everyone there is, I would assume for the most part, has shot a bow for a long time, is not new to the game.
Right.
If they're going to travel up there and compete, something awkward, I don't even know the best word, like catastrophic, not even gear failure, but like where you just kind of goof up.
Yeah.
Maybe you dry fire your bow.
Oh, yeah.
Or so. That would be my biggest fear. Did you see anything like that while you were there?
So nothing with a dry fire, but there was a guy, he was like 2 bales down from me. At one point, it was towards the end of our matches, and all of a sudden we just hear a pow. And we look over, he just let his release go. He was at full draw, he just let his release go. It went into the back of his riser. He was shooting a blade rest. It bent his blade rest down. His release wound up being all the way at the target bales. And he's just like, I don't know what happened. He's like, I just let it go.
Yeah. I mean,
it was a sponsored shooter too.
Yeah. And things like that happen.
It happens.
Yeah. That would be my biggest fear though. You're just on that big stage, everyone around, you got people behind you watching.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah. There's spectators there and everything. And so I was actually shooting next to Dan McCarthy. He is a Matthews sponsored shooter. He's more known for doing the 3D stuff, ASA shooting.
Right.
But he does do some of the indoor stuff. And so I was right next to him shooting next to him the whole time. So that was just like a, oh crap moment.
Kind of cool though.
Oh yeah, it was phenomenal. Yeah. So that is another cool thing about it is you could be shooting next to anybody. You know, big names like that. Levi Morgan was there. Joel Turner was there. His son Bodie.
JR was there.
Yeah,
dude, I'm sure
know.
Dan standing beside you was like, don't screw this up. JR from Extreme Outfitters is right beside me. This dude knows his stuff. I'm sure you probably had him a little on edge.
Yeah, maybe. Because he shot pretty good too, but not as good as I thought he would have.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, stuff happens.
Stuff happens. So first time there, you said the men's open class. What you took and you shot?
So I was shooting
the
Matthews title. Yep, which is right here. So I was shooting the Matthews bars.
Which is it, the 38?
That is a 38. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep, the 38. I was so I've got 70 pound mods on there at 75% let off. I did take a turn out of my limbs because I wanted to just have a little bit less holding weight. I was kind of struggling with that leading up to my practice. I was practicing the last 2 months almost. I was coming in early, staying late, shooting a lot. I put a lot of arrows through that bow. I've probably got over 1,000 arrows through that thing right now. And there's still all the stock stuff on there with the strings and everything. I've got the Excel Achieve XP with the Ultra View scope on there. I've got a 6-power lens with the a 19,000 fiber in it. And then
so that's a big fiber for a target sight, isn't it?
Yes, but it's actually nice. So one thing I like to do is, especially on that target face, you've got the yellow and then the orange.
Right.
So I like to have a fiber or a dot that actually matches with that yellow. So that way I know once I'm in there and I'm floating in that center that I know I'm centered pretty good.
Okay.
And I have problems with astigmatism. A lot of my fibers like to starburst. So that's something that I always struggle with as well, is getting my pin clear, especially on that powered lens. It's a 6-power. I have to have a clarifier in my peep. So when you have a magnified object sitting in front of you, and the further out you put it, it just distorts everything more, especially if you have problems with vision and stuff like that. That's where you need a clarifier in your peep. So when you're looking through, it actually makes it clear for you. That's why they call it a clarifier. For those that don't know anything about target stuff, it's something it's going to be unique to each person, and then they have different clarifiers for different powers and stuff like that. And
so is that pretty common in target archery? Mm-hmm. Most guys are running a lens, some kind of clarifier, verifier.
Yeah, for the most part. It just depends on the power lens too. So
is there like a cutoff though with that? Like you can't run like a 10-power lens or?
I think that's the biggest that goes in 8-power. I think.
Okay.
I think that's the biggest you can get.
Gotcha.
Most guys, some people use them. Like Paige Pierce, for example, she uses an 8-power lens, and then she uses actually a 40 thousandths fiber. She has a 40 thousandths fiber in her lens. It's a huge fiber.
Really?
Yeah.
So it covers the whole target.
Well, she has it so far out her sight. She's on I think she said a 9-inch bar or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So, and she has it like all the way extended out. So once she gets out there, it's really not that big.
Like another stabilizer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah. pretty crazy.
So, I mean, everybody's kind of got their own different setups when it comes to target archery. So everyone runs things a little bit differently.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with hunting bows, I guess. But it's just a lot more intricate.
Yes.
As far as the target size goes.
Yeah, for sure. And some guys run crazy stabilizer lengths and even out the back stabilizer and different weight options, different ounces. So I've got, I think there's 8 ounces on my back bar and 4 ounces on my front bar. I don't remember what those end caps weigh, so I mean that adds some weight there as well. But my bow is, I think, just over 9 pounds, something like that. So
that's not honestly as bad as I thought it would be.
No, it's not.
It is. I've held the bow. The bow is heavy.
It is. So, and that's what most people do.
Front delts.
I wish. And there's times where I was up there and I could see myself shaking so bad. I'm just like, man, this is kind of embarrassing in front of all these people. But at the end of the day, you're there to shoot your game, and that's what you got to do. You just got to get that mental preparedness, and that's what I try working on, is just trying to find a way to just zone everything out, just focus on my game, and just make sure I hit my target.
Be in the moment.
Yeah, because that is another thing too. There's so many target faces down there. You can actually get lost very fast on where your target is. So,
I'm shooting the dudes to my right target, giving him a
it does happen. Like and also halfway through your matches, you actually switch bails. So I was on the top bail, and then after that, you switch for your next game. So you got to remember, and a lot of us were over there too. We're just like, hey, bottom bail, or top bail. You always hear that. So
there's some good camaraderie going on. People help each other out.
Yeah.
Hoping you miss secretly.
Yeah. The guy that was next to me on my bail, he actually had a few misses, but he still shot pretty decent.
Yeah. Did you notice a big difference going from top to bottom as far as holding the bow, being able to stay on target? Did you struggle at all with that?
Everything felt pretty good there. I did try to practice that here at the shop. Yeah. I would try to do it every so often, just swap bails. I did notice I had more problems here at the shop, and it was just some days I just have problems holding. I just having an off day or something like that. So, yeah, I definitely noticed a lot more though. Having the nerves, it just made it a lot harder to hold steady. And I did have a couple times where once I got back, I just hit my back wall funny or something like that. I did bounce off a few times, which, I mean, it happens, and that's another part of the mental game is if you know it's going to be a bad shot, just let down, reset, refocus, start over. Yeah. And
so you got the full 2 minutes.
Yes.
So no matter what, you're going to wait. If you shoot it within the first 10 seconds, you got a minute 50 to sit and wait, to recalibrate, regroup, and take your next shot.
Yep.
Oh, so no wonder it takes so long.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody.
Yep. And then it takes time to go down there, score the targets and everything. So I would say you're looking probably about 3 minutes for scoring. And then also you have to change your target face every five ends. You change to a fresh target face. And then, like we said, at the 10th, after 10th end, we switch bails and also new target face.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
it does take time. And then also if you have disputes with your scores and stuff, or what a arrow should be scored as, you have judges there, so they take their time to look through everything, and they also swap judges every 5 ends, so they'll rotate through. So
whenever it comes to scoring, so if your arrow is this a thing with it? Do you have to actually break the line, or can you be pulling the line?
You have to break the line.
It has to break it for it to you get that higher up score.
Yes.
Okay. So not just pulling it.
Yep.
Okay. Makes sense. So back to your bow. So Matthews Title 38, you've got the Excel Achieve XP with an Ultra View scope on it. You're running a blade rest.
I am. So I actually wound up swapping. I was running a Hamsky, and then I swapped to that blade rest about 2 weeks ago.
Why?
I just felt like I was having problems with my Hamsky, especially with that capture bar. I was running the DCA Super Sabers on my the Easton aluminum X27s. So that's a big shaft. It's 2764, so it's just over a half inch in diameter.
Those are like logs.
Yes. Yeah, Lincoln logs going down range.
You can't miss.
Oh, you can. I've done it. I've missed. But I just felt like I was having a little bit of inconsistencies with it, so I wanted to try a blade rest. It's a lot of times you can be a little bit more accurate with blade rest, but if you don't have it set up properly, obviously you can have problems too. Especially drawing back, if you're not steady enough, you can have it fall off, and that does happen. It happened a few times with me. Like some guys are giving me crap for swapping. You're like, you're going to this big event you've never been before, and you're shooting a blade rest. You're gonna probably be bouncing all over the place.
Dude, I can't even shoot one in here half the time and keep an arrow on. I don't know how you did in front of everybody.
I feel like I did pretty good.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a learning curve on a blade, but overall, I felt really confident with it.
Yeah. So shot good, bow shot good, and you're not running the standard Matthews grip, as I can see. You are running.
No, I got the Ultra View grip on there.
You like it? It makes a big difference.
I do. So
I'll tell you, the biggest complaint with Matthews bows is the grip.
Yes.
It rolling in people's hands. Is that the same issue for you?
Yes. I can't also get consistent with it because it's narrow and very rounded on the back edge.
Yep.
So that's why I like something a little bit more squared and evened off. And I also added some grip tape to the back to add a little bit more texture for it. So it just makes it a little bit easier when I'm gripping that bow. I can get more consistent with
those
it.
Sweaty, nervous hands.
Yes. Yes.
So from there, you're running the Matthews stabilizers bars. You've got front and rear bar, you said. Did you run the bar all the way out?
I did. Yep. Just the way it is right there. That's how I had it.
That's your setup.
And that was something I was playing with as well. I was playing with how far out I had it or in. That's the really cool thing about that, the bridge lock bar, is you can really kind of fine tune how you want to have it in and out. I did start off with it probably about 4 inches shorter than that. And I even made a mark in there just so I knew where to put it back to. But then towards the end, I ran all the way out, and I felt like it was holding really well until I got up there and just, nerves and everything got to me. So.
Right. Of course. And as far as your peep goes, you're running the Hamsky Insight peep.
Yep.
What size aperture do you run?
That is a 5/32 because I am running the UV3 XL, so that's the bigger housing. If I were to be running the smaller target housing, I'd probably be running a smaller peep.
Why, when shooting spots, why didn't you run a smaller housing?
So I actually had that set up for 3D for outdoor stuff.
Right.
And that's the only set I had. So I went with just the bigger housing just to make it easier for everything.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. And back to the bow too, the bowstrings on it. You said you've put probably over 1,000 arrows through this bow. Have you checked timing and everything on it? I
haven't in the last probably 2 weeks, but everything feels good on it. It is on 75% let off and it's 70 pound mods, but I do have a turn out of the limb. So it's probably pulling like 65 pounds, somewhere around there. But everything does feel pretty good on the back wall. I'm not really noticing any sponge or any kind of give in it. So I haven't checked it in a while.
So it's a big change going from the zebras to the match strings.
Oh yeah, for sure. Those match strings are way better. And that was something I was even talking with Dan McCarthy. He's the factory shooter for Matthews, and he said he loves them too. Only thing he wishes as well is if they actually serve the end loops on their strings. But other than that, I mean, it's a 452 string. As long as you make a good, or if you know what you're doing, you should be able to make a good string out of that. It's a really good string material. So
yeah, impressive bow for sure.
Yes, I didn't win, but hey, I went up there looking good, and a lot of people complimented me on the bow, and it was kind of cool shooting next to Dan because he was shooting the title as well. He was shooting a 36 on the mint green. Yeah, whatever it's called, I can't remember, and then the white limbs, so it looked good.
I thought that most of the guys indoor stuff are shooting the longer ATA bows, so your 38 and 40 inch bows. So
I even asked about that too. He said that the 38 normally holds better for him, but he just liked the setup with the 36 better for him, and he is a little bit short of a draw length. I think he's like a 27 inch draw length. Oh, wow. So he felt a little bit more confident with the 36. That's why he took that. But he's going to be shooting the 38. He said for when it comes to the ASA stuff.
Shoot what works best for you.
Yep.
We say it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So what about as far as your release goes? I smack this microphone off the hook.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I am shooting the hinge. That's what I've been shooting for almost 3 years now. I'm shooting the Ultra View hinge. And that's something that I was playing with as well, is playing with my click and my fire settings and all that stuff, playing with the moons on there. I've had it really cold, and I noticed it was taking me a lot of time to get through my shot process. Once I'm drawn back, I try to have my shot go off within about 2 to 3 seconds.
Consistently.
Yeah. That's where I try to be at. And if I just don't get it there, that's where I just, like I said, I need to work on letting down, just resetting, restarting, go again. So I was playing with that a lot too. Yeah. What else?
Do you hunt with that same release?
I do. It's always in my pocket.
No, sir.
It's sitting right here.
No, sir.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a learning curve going to a hinge. But it's honestly, once you get used to it, I would say within a week to 2 weeks, if you're consistently using it, you should have no problem.
Did you feel like it makes a huge difference in your actual shot process for a more consistent shot?
Oh, for sure. So if you ever have problems with target panic, because I mean, you technically could roll through your hinge really fast, but there is no mechanism to make it go off any faster. You just have to rely on your back tension and just working through the process to get your shot to go off. And that was something that I've noticed as well. It's like there's times where I'm on target, and if it's taking too long, like 2 to 3 seconds longer, that's where I'm like, okay, I want this to go off. So it's a lot harder to make it go off if you don't have it set up properly, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm awesome for punching the trigger.
Yep.
Dude, I'm good at it. People have called me out all the time online about it. So
yeah. And they're
I'm working through it.
There's a lot of aspects with that too. There's a lot of guys that they want to have that command shooting. And there was times where it's like, yeah, I wish I could make it go off, but I just got to work through my process to make it go off. And that's where maybe I could have shot better with that, but who knows? And I even played around with that in the last 2 weeks. I went back to a button, just playing around with it to see if I liked it any better, and I couldn't do it.
Stuck with it.
I noticed I was actually starting to get kind of target panic going back to a button. I'd get on target, and then I just want to smash it to go off. So that's when I'm like, nope, can't do it.
So do you, as far as like training goes for the archery side of things, do you go between different releases, like a back tension release, a hinge release, a button, just so that you're, I don't know, training yourselves on these different release aids? Or do you stick to just, I shoot a hinge, that's what I focus on, that's my primary release?
Mostly just the hinge. Like I said, I did try and play around with a thumb button for a little bit, and like I said, I couldn't do it. I've been shooting that hinge for, like I said, almost 3 years, and that's just what I feel comfortable using. Especially like even going to an index release, I can't do it. I hate the feel of it on my wrist.
So hunting wise, I want to so badly to go back, and we just did a video on this and we put it out, and there's a lot of great feedback from a lot of guys, a lot of advice, which we always appreciate you guys, giving us your feedback. But I like the idea of going to a wrist release and having it attached to me all times. And, I know I could tether my thumb button to me, but it's flapping, right? I could tuck it in. It doesn't secure good. It's always kind of floating around. But with the wrist release, I can tuck it in there. It stays nice and tight. But when I went and shot groups and compared them, my group is substantially more open with a wrist released.
Yes.
And I don't know. I want to, as bad as I want to go back to wrist release, I just shoot a thumb button much better. I feel it's much easier, just a handheld release in general, to find my anchor point, be consistent with my anchor point, and execute a shot with less trigger punching. I'm not saying I still don't trigger punch. Right. I'm working through it, but I'm better at using back tension or using those muscles to make that shot break versus just slamming it like I do with a wrist release.
Correct. And that's what a lot of feedback that I see too. When I have guys try out a thumb button or even a hinge, like they're just like instantly like, oh my God, I feel like my shot process is way better. I've become more consistent. So it's an incredible thing. But I mean, obviously you are going to be looking at a lot more money to get into,
of course, like anything
a
else.
handheld release.
And it's not for everybody, right?
You
know, it's guys that just come out and shoot every once in a while probably don't need to spend $300 on a hand release, but the option's there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So from there, you shot pretty good. Was there anything you would change on your bow going into this, next time?
With that, it just becomes a lot of playing around with it. Mm-hmm. I did buy extra weights. So I love the weight system that they have for their bars. It is super easy. You just unscrew a set screw, and then you can check that,
the interlocking system.
It's super easy to change it out. I mean, obviously it is a little bit more expensive for that, but it was super easy. I didn't change anything when I was at the shoot, but even when I got back, so I came in yesterday, I was shooting a little bit. I just felt like I wasn't staying steady enough. So I actually added another ounce to my back bar, and instantly I was like way steadier. So a lot of times when you see that, that's why a lot of those guys run so much weight on their bars, is most of the times once you have a heavier bow or heavier setup, you can actually be more stable. It does take obviously time and a lot of arrows through your bow to be able to get steady. You're going to build up your shoulder muscles and everything for it. But generally, once you have a good setup, you really don't have much to play around with. But if I were to change anything, man, I don't think I would.
You'd stick with that bow. Yeah. You'd run that bow, same setup. Just spend more time behind it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you only got the bow in.
It was
when they first came out.
Yeah. Was it? October,
Yeah, so not long.
something like that.
Yeah, so it's still a fairly new bow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the last 2 months I was putting a lot of arrows through it. I was coming into the shop before work and even staying after and just shooting arrows. The biggest thing with that, I did shoot a lot of arrows through it, but I need to keep working on it. And it's a constant thing to work on, is just making sure you're executing good shots. It's not the amount of arrows you get through it, it's the quality.
Quality over quantity.
Yep, 100%.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So you went into the shot. What did you shoot? I know everyone's probably curious. What did JR shoot? What was your score?
So I shot a 610.
610. You told me that, and I was like, "Oh, that's amazing."
Yeah.
But apparently, to you, it's not.
It's not bad. It's pretty. I'd say pretty average.
Okay.
It's right there in the middle of the pack. So when I was practicing, I was shooting anywhere from, it'd be probably about 610 to 640s when I'd come in and practice on myself. And that's just something I need to figure out a better way to practice for that. Getting those nerves. It's almost like, like you just need to go run a couple laps, come grab your bow, and then shoot. That'd be like the only way I could really describe of actually getting good practice and just to get your heart rate going.
Right. And I think it's almost impossible to stimulate or reproduce that type of nerves or energy. Even, you get your heart rate up with running or training, and then you go shoot. It's still different than nerves.
Right.
Whenever you're actually in front of a bunch of people and, your respiratory rate increases, heart rate increases. It's still a little different than, stimulating that through, just training, just physical training.
Yeah. Because a lot of it, I feel like, is just the mental aspect of it. So you can have all the physical training you can, but that mental side is just something that you just have to have the experience. So
right.
It was definitely a great experience.
Yeah. Clear your head, focus on the single task at hand. And, that's what you prioritize.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So great event. As far as, did you have like a specific training regiment that you like adhered to prior to, or is it just like, hey, my goal is spend time behind the bow, shoot the bow, focus on my shot process?
Yeah, there really wasn't a regiment. It was just, spending, like you said, spending the time behind the riser, just getting comfortable with the bow. And that was something I was just constantly playing with too, constantly changing, stabilizer weights and everything else. And just, even changing draw weight. I even tried changing the draw length for a little bit too, but I mean, really? It's been hard to get the mods and everything right now. So I can't really play around with that too much.
I just talked to Matthews this morning. I talked to our rep over there because we're waiting on a ton of Matthews bows. Yes. We have I don't even know how many lifts we're waiting on.
It's like 30 something.
At least. Yeah. And we're supposed to be getting them within he said the next 2 weeks. So fingers crossed that they show up. We'll get our initial bows in. Plus we've got all the other color options that we ordered that are probably not going to be here till the end of March. So we've got a lot of Matthews bows, and getting the mods has been a struggle. So I'm surprised, honestly, that we had your draw length.
I know, I was
target bow.
Yeah.
So that's good. Worked out. So overall, how'd you feel you did? Pretty stoked on your performance? I know I was.
No, that's just me. I'm very competitive, I need to perform.
Always want more.
Yeah, always wanting more. So, I mean, I'm not terribly upset with myself. I feel like I didn't meet my expectations, but I know I did well. So yeah, it's just something that if you have that competitive nature, it's just you're always striving to be perfect. And
right, you can never be satisfied.
Yeah, you can never be.
Yeah, always more. But it's good to you did it. There's a lot of people that never have, which is great. It's a big thing to step up on, I think, a platform like that and, make the drive and, just give it a shot. And now you know what to look forward, and what to kind of expect the next time you head up there or whichever other big event you decide to do next year.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to go back to Lancaster for the Classic, but Vegas would be a great one to go to. Even maybe try to get to some ASA shoots, which is all the outdoor 3D stuff.
Speaking of, we'll have our 3D stuff, which I got to finalize, but we'll have our list of 3D events coming out very soon here locally in the North Carolina area. For all of you guys who are interested in shooting 3D, we host our own stuff.
Yes. It's always a good time.
It is a fun time.
Great time.
It's nothing crazy, but we do some cool shoots. We do some different style events. We do some ASA style stuff. And then we've got some, cool novelty targets that we set up, and we gave away a bow last year.
Yep.
Jordan Carter won that thing, swept it.
Yes, he did.
Absolutely crushed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we try to keep it interesting, keep it fun. We also do our indoor stuff here too.
Mm-hmm.
So which is starting back up this week.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to run our indoor league stuff.
Yeah, another couple weeks at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And JR leads that and heads it. So it's always a good time.
Oh yeah.
So what's from here? What's the next thing for you? Next event? Is there anything?
I've been looking. I got to do some more looking, but definitely, like I said, I want to try and at least get an ASA into me too. That'd be a lot of fun.
Is there anything local to us?
It's not super local. It's Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, something like that. They're over. I just smacked my head on the mic.
Dude, see, this thing will come out of nowhere and get you. So, well, cool, man. Well, I'm glad you had a great trip. I wish we could have went up there as a company, but obviously we can't.
Oh yeah.
The guys did. Yeah, maybe one day. Hopefully we will be at TAC as long as I get off my butt and get our registration finalized. That's on me. We'll hopefully be there with truck and trailer, a bunch of product in PA, right?
Yep.
That's the one we plan to head to as long as I don't procrastinate too long. But yeah, the guys did a phenomenal job holding the shop down while you were gone. You've done a good job getting these guys trained up to speed. We've got some really good techs that held it down and kept the show running.
Good.
So, that was good.
Yep. I only got one phone call while it's going, and that was it was all right.
That's impressive because I got more phone calls than that, and I was here.
Yeah.
Well, good, man. I'm glad you had a great trip. I know we got to get back to work. There's a bunch of stuff we've got to get knocked out, play catch up on. Yeah. What else you got? Anything?
I just appreciate you guys letting me go up there, and I'm glad that it was a good trip, great time. What else? Oh yeah, we went and spent some time in DC, so that was really cool.
That's right. I meant to ask you about that on here. We're not done yet, guys.
Yeah.
So you went on the way back, because you guys turned it into a family event, like you said. So you guys went to DC first time there?
Yeah, it was my first time over there, and the kids. My wife's been there before too, but traffic wasn't too bad. We got there. We left Saturday morning. We got there about noonish. We bummed around there, went to the Smithsonian Natural History Museum, and then we went to the Air and Space Museum. And then I'm like, what? We haven't been here before. It wound up being kind of late then. I'm like, let's see if we can find a hotel around by. So we actually stayed in the Navy Yard area, which is like a mile away from like the downtown area or whatever. So it's all right there. Rooms actually weren't very expensive. And then Sunday it was kind of crappy and rainy out, a little bit chillier. So traffic actually wasn't bad at all. We went and looked at some of the monuments, and then went over to Arlington Cemetery. I got to see the Iwo Jima Memorial. That was really cool. Since I was in the Marine Corps, so it was pretty neat heritage thing for me to see. We went and saw the change of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown. That was really cool. And then just kind of bummed around. We went to the Arlington House or something like that. That's actually where General Lee stayed after a little bit before he defected over to the Confederacy, and a lot of history stuff. So.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff. You guys said you went to the Smithsonian as well?
Yeah, the Natural History Museum.
What did the kids think?
Oh, they loved it. Yeah, it was really cool. I love dinosaurs and fossils and stuff like that. So
you and Will would love that. You should hang out.
Oh yeah, it was a blast there. I was actually a little bit disappointed in the ocean area. I guess if you've ever seen Night at the Museum, they kind of portray it being really big. It really wasn't that big, but it's a good sized building still. It's just not as big as like they portrayed in the movie, but it was still really cool.
That's awesome.
They had a giant whale in there. It was probably about as long as our store is. It was really cool.
So solid trip.
Oh yeah. It was a great time.
That's awesome. Well, back to reality. Yes. We got work to do.
Yep. I was like, man, I got to come back to work today. I'm sure it'll be right though.
You were back. You came in before you even had to.
Yeah.
You're scheduled to come back to work though. So
I know. I'm always here.
Enough.
No.
Yeah.
I wanted to shoot my bow a little bit more and just make sure it was me. It was 100% me, not the bow.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's
never the bow.
It's never the shooter. It's always the bow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's never the bow. It's always the shooter. Or no.
You got it backwards. Again, it's never the shooter.
Yes,
it's always the bow. Just so you guys were wondering. Yeah, that's what we see that a lot. But, awesome. Glad you had a great trip. It's great sitting down and talking to you and kind of recapping the event.
Yeah.
You did a phenomenal job. You represented the brand.
Thank you.
Our company phenomenally. We were all rooting for you.
Yep.
We had it on in the shop.
Yep.
I know Mom, the guys here, everybody were watching it. They were super stoked for you. So get a plan for next year.
Yeah. Next year, look for me to be on the stage.
660 or bust.
Oh, yeah.
No pressure.
I'm going to shoot a 670 just because I'll shoot a couple extra.
Just a couple extra. No pressure.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, guys. Well, we're going to wrap this up. We appreciate you guys tuning in. This is something a little different we're doing. Like I said, it's a show. It's not a podcast. And we'll be sitting down with different people, talking to them, about all things that are related to our brand. So we're going to get to it. We got bows to tune. We got product to order, business stuff to attend to.
Oh, yeah.
So
always.
Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you guys in our next episode.
Yep.